So you received a traffic ticket for disobeying a traffic control device, but that's a pretty generic term. So what exactly does that mean and how exactly can this ticket affect you? Let's dive into that right now. Hi, I'm attorney Derek Martin with Driver Defense Team, and today we're talking about disobeying a traffic control device. And so the first question is, what is a traffic control device? Well, it is a device like a stoplight or a sign that is intended to control the flow of traffic. And so there's many examples of this. Obviously, the most common is a traffic light, but there's also a no left turn sign, a failure to yield, a wrong way sign. Any of those signs that you see on the road that are intended to direct or control traffic are considered a traffic control device and fall under this law. And so there's really three different scenarios where you're going to get this type of ticket. The first is if an officer observes you. Maybe he observes you go down the wrong way on a one-way, or he sees you take a left when that's prohibited. Well, if he sees that, he's going to give you a ticket for this. Pretty straightforward and understandable. The second is that the law says you specifically cannot avoid a traffic control device by cutting through private property. So you'll see oftentimes people cut through, say, a gas station in order to avoid sitting at that red light. This law specifically prohibits that. And the third scenario is where you're in an accident. Say you ran through a red light and as a result you're in an accident. You're going to probably get this ticket along with a few others most likely. And so those are the most common scenarios that we see where people get these tickets. But the law also requires something of the traffic device. In other words, the law specifically says that this traffic device must first be in the proper position, and it also must be sufficiently legible to the ordinarily observant person. So again, it first must be in the right position. You've often seen, say, a stop sign that's bent over or twisted because maybe that was hit by a car. Well, that's a defense, and that's a defense that you're probably going to submit at trial and to say that this was not in the proper position because the law does require this traffic control device to be in the proper position. The second is sufficiently legible. You can imagine tree branches hanging over a stop sign or any number of things like that. Well, again, that's an argument probably at trial in order to show that you were not guilty of committing this offense. And so that's something you can do, or that's something you can hire an attorney to help you with. The last thing I want to discuss is the penalties for this. The penalties for this are similar to many other traffic tickets in the sense that a conviction can hurt your record. It's going to cause points to be on your public driving record. Additionally, it can cause your insurance rates to increase. And third is that there can be some fines associated with this. In fact, a maximum of a $1,000 fine plus court costs for this type of traffic ticket. So obviously, if at all possible, you want to avoid this going on your record. We'd be happy to help you with that. But I hope that this video was at least able to point you in the right direction and help you understand exactly what this ticket is all about. So thank you for watching.